Okay, students, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody has joined. I can see only 104. This is not good. Please tell your friends to join. So, right now we have both second SEM and third SEM who are supposed to attend this lecture because you both have the same topic to cover. You both have to study amino acids. So, we will wait for 2 minutes and then I will take the attendance just to check that everybody has joined. So when you share your attendance, when I will ask you, you will send your name, your group number, and your semester number. Okay? Not now. Just wait. Guys who are sending their attendance right now, please, I told you in the morning, please don't do this. You are going to become doctors. Please learn to listen and understand. I said, wait. When I tell you to send your attendance, at that time you have to send your attendance, okay? Not now. Okay, so let's start. We were studying the metabolism of the aromatic amino acids, right? In between, I will also try to ask you some questions and I will check the messages. So when I ask you a question, you have to answer in the chat, okay? So that way we can interact a little bit. And if anybody is trying to be funny, I will ban them from the stream. Okay. So we were talking about the aromatic amino acids and how many aromatic amino acids are there? Three: phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. I hope you remember. So why they are aromatic? Because they have these chains. Okay. They have these chains. That's why we call them aromatic amino acids. Now, the next thing that I told you to remember was that phenylalanine and tyrosine, they are related. They are from the same family. Why are they related? You can see here that this structure is almost similar with the exception of the hydroxyl group. Yes? So that's why they are from the same family, which means that with the help of phenylalanine hydroxylase, phenylalanine will easily convert to tyrosine. And tyrosine will convert to many different products. You have to learn these products. We have already discussed melanin, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and thyroxine. So these are the products of tyrosine. So when I ask you in the exam or in the class, what are the products of tyrosine, you have to answer these substances. Okay, all these substances you have to mention. Right. What else? What else did we study? Yes, we saw that for the conversion of phenylalanine to tyrosine, which two things do we need? We need phenylalanine hydroxylase and we need tetrahydrobiopterin. So, if any of these things is absent, what will happen? Phenylalanine will be very high. Now, you please tell me in the chat, if phenylalanine is very high, what will be the name of that disease? What do we call that disease in which phenylalanine is very high? Come on, quickly. Let me see who will be the first correct answer. Yes, Anib. Anib and Tarun have answered correctly. Okay, Zayan, Mahmood. Okay, very good. Phenylketonuria is the name of the disease. Okay, phenylketonuria. All right. And we also discussed that for the conversion of tyrosine to melanin, we need the enzyme tyrosinase. And for the conversion of homogentisate to melyl acetoacetate, we need the enzyme homogentisate oxidase. Okay. So related to these enzymes also, we are going to see diseases today. ठीक है, आज इन एंजाइम्स की कमी की वजह से कौन सी डिजीज होती है उसके बारे में भी पढ़ेंगे. और उससे पहले हम अब ट्रिप्टोफैन मेटाबॉलिज्म, लेट्स गो टुवर्ड्स tryptophan metabolism. Okay, because until now we have seen tyrosine and phenylalanine. Now, which is the third aromatic amino acid? It is tryptophan. So, tryptophan metabolism, my dear students, it happens by two pathways. Okay, so the first pathway is 5-HT pathway. The second pathway is kynurenine pathway. Now, I want you to say this 5 times. Kynurenine, kynurenine, kynurenine. I said it 3 times. You have to say it 5 times. Okay. So, why you have to say it? Because when I ask you the question in the exam, you should be able to speak properly. You should be able to take the name of the pathway properly. Okay. I don't want you to say kynurenine, kynurenine. Okay. Just say clearly kynurenine pathway. So both these pathways have different products and you have to learn the names of those products. Okay. So fat, glucose, niacin, NAD plus and NADP plus. These are the products of kynurenine pathway. Okay. These are the products of kynurenine pathway. What are they? Fat, glucose, niacin, NAD plus, and NADP plus. On the other hand, there are only three products from the 5-HT pathway. What are the three products? Serotonin, melatonin, and HIAA. This is hydroxyindole acetic acid. You don't have to learn the full form, but you should know that if I ask you the question, you should know that it is HIAA. Okay. So these three products, ye teen products, they are from 5-HT pathway, and these five products are from kynurenine pathway. Okay. Now, what is the chain of reactions? How does this reaction occur? See, first of all, we have tryptophan, okay, and the enzyme tryptophan hydroxylase. So, for converting phenylalanine, we had phenylalanine hydroxylase. For converting tyrosine, we have tyrosine hydroxylase. Similarly, for converting tryptophan, we have tryptophan hydroxylase. And again, this is our old friend tetrahydrobiopterin. It is also known as BH4. Yes. So this is also required, and tryptophan hydroxylase is also required. And the product which we will get is 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is also known as 5-HT. That's why this pathway is called 5-HT pathway. ओके. इस पाथवे को, ये जो सारा रिएक्शन है, इसको 5-HT पाथवे इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि ट्रिप्टोफैन से सबसे पहला प्रोडक्ट जो बनता है वो क्या है? वो खुद ही 5-HT है. 5-HT का फुल फॉर्म 5-हाइड्रोक्सी ट्रिप्टोफैन. 5-हाइड्रोक्सी ट्रिप्टोफैन will convert to 5-hydroxytryptamine. Okay. So 5-hydroxytryptophan converts to 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is also known as serotonin. Okay. Now, where was serotonin? This is serotonin right here. Okay. Let me change the color so you can see it clearly. This is serotonin. So serotonin is a product of 5-HT pathway. Okay. So here we will get our serotonin. All right. And serotonin is also known as 5-hydroxytryptamine. And which enzyme is required for this? Aromatic amino acid decarboxylase enzyme. So you have to remember the names of these enzymes also. Okay, please don't send me your attendance. I will ask for the attendance, only then you have to send. Okay, not now. So anytime if I feel that the students have reduced, I will ask for attendance, and those who are absent, they will be marked absent. Okay. All right. Now, once we got serotonin, so we got serotonin in this reaction. Yes. This serotonin further it will convert to acetyl serotonin, and the acetyl serotonin will convert to melatonin. Okay, how it will convert? First, serotonin will convert with the help of enzyme acetylase, then it will convert with the help of enzyme methyl transferase. So these two more enzymes are required. This also you have to learn. Okay, now what is this reaction? This is the complete reaction put together. Okay, so if I show you, immediately I show you this reaction, you are going to get scared. So I broke it down into two parts, but now you have become brave. Now you can see that tryptophan is converting to 5-hydroxytryptophan, then it is converting to 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is serotonin. Then serotonin will convert to acetyl serotonin, and that will convert to melatonin. And the enzymes required are this, and this. Okay, so four enzymes are required for these reactions. And now we are going to see what is the role of serotonin. So we learned about serotonin just now. Yes. So basically, what happens is serotonin is nothing but it is a neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter. Okay. So when this neurotransmitter goes from, see, this is the ending of one neuron. Okay. So this is the end of one neuron, and this is the start of the next neuron. What is neuron? I cannot explain. You should go and read in anatomy. So this is presynaptic nerve and this is postsynaptic nerve, and this space is called the synapse. Okay, so serotonin is nothing but it is a neurotransmitter and a type of medicine. See, I'm just trying to make this interesting for you. I don't know why these students are still writing their name and their attendance. My dear students, what kind of doctors are you going to be if you cannot follow simple instructions? Don't send your attendance now. I will tell you when you have to send it. Okay. So serotonin is going from, it's going from this neuron to this neuron. Okay. And in patients who have depression, in patients who have depression, the serotonin amount in this area will be reduced. Okay, serotonin is reduced. So what do we want to do in such patients? We want to block this place. We want to block this place. Let me clear the, I have actually drawn way too much. Okay, so we want to block, we want to block this place. Okay, why we want to block it? So that the serotonin will not go backwards. Okay, the serotonin should not go back. Okay, so what do we use for blocking that? We use drugs which are known as SSRI. SSRI means selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Okay, so you see, this is what you will study in pharmacology, but right now I'm just telling you because we studied about serotonin. Yes. So because I told you about serotonin, I want to tell you something about the clinical aspect also, something about the medicines also. In fourth semester when you study pharmacology, you will study about these drugs also. Anyway, so serotonin is a neurotransmitter and we use SSRI drugs for blocking the reabsorption of serotonin in depression. Okay, now what is this? What is this image? Everybody knows we are talking about nothing but phenylketonuria. Okay, next we are going to talk about another disease, and in the second disease, can you please tell me what do you see on the screen on the left side and on the right side? Can you please tell me? Just leave a comment and I will be back in 1 minute. Okay, very good. Many of you have answered correctly. See, the left side is normal urine, and on the right side is abnormal urine. These are urine samples. So, why this happens? This happens in a disease known as alkaptonuria. The name of the disease is alkaptonuria. So, what happens? Just like phenylketonuria, in this case, I told you to remember the enzyme homogentisate oxidase. Yes? So, if the enzyme homogentisate oxidase is not working properly, what will happen? The conversion of homogentisate to melyl acetoacetate will stop. This conversion will stop. And then what will happen to homogentisate? It will increase. So, this high amount of homogentisate, it gives blackish color. Okay, so the urine will also become dark. There will be ochronosis and there will be arthritis. What is ochronosis? Ochronosis means there will be black colored ear. Okay, so the ear will have some blackish color on the cartilage. And what about arthritis? Arthritis means inflammation of the joints. So we have all these joints in the body, right? Again, coming back to anatomy. So when these joints, when the homogentisate will go and deposit in these joints, because it is present in such high quantity, it will accumulate and it will cause arthritis. Okay, so one more disease that we come to know today, the name is alkaptonuria. So now we know phenyl ketonuria, and we also know alkaptonuria. Okay, now can anybody tell me what is the name of this disease which you see on the screen? What is the name of this disease? Or maybe let's not call it a disease, it is a condition. What condition is this? Yes, so many of you have guessed it correctly. It is albinism. It's called albinism. And very good. One student has also mentioned the cause. The cause is absence of the pigment known as melanin. So how did melanin become absent? See, we have already mentioned that the conversion of tyrosine to melanin happens with the help of the enzyme tyrosinase, right? So, if the tyrosinase enzyme is absent or if it is not functioning properly, then what will happen to the melanin production? It will reduce, right? Melanin production will be down. And melanin is responsible for color, it's responsible for giving the color to the hair, to the skin. So that's why lack of melanin will cause this condition known as albinism. Okay. All right. Now, this is one summary, one chart of all the diseases which we have talked about so far, right? So, what are these diseases? First of all, you see phenylalanine converts to tyrosine, and the enzyme used here is enzyme number one. What is that? Phenylalanine hydroxylase. You can see the enzymes on the left side. Then tyrosine converts to an intermediary product. Intermediary product मतलब पहले ये product आएगा बीच में उसके बाद final product बनेगा. ठीक है? So the intermediary product is DOPA. The full form of DOPA is also mentioned here, dihydroxyphenylalanine. So dihydroxyphenylalanine will finally convert to dopamine and melanin. So for converting to dopamine, we need DOPA decarboxylase, and for converting to melanin, we need which enzyme? Tyrosinase. Okay. So this is simply, we are just repeating what we have already studied. Only one thing is new, that is DOPA. Okay. So dihydroxyphenylalanine and its conversion to dopamine. This is the only new thing. that you have to learn in this slide. Okay. Now, coming to the disease related to tryptophan metabolism. So far, we saw diseases related to phenylalanine. Yes. Then we saw diseases related to tyrosine. Correct. And finally, we are going to see a disease which is related to tryptophan metabolism. So these were your three aromatic amino acids. Phenylalanine is done, tyrosine is also done. Last is tryptophan. So the images which you see on the screen, they are related to a disease which is caused because of some problem with tryptophan metabolism. So let's see what is that problem. So first of all, let me tell you that tryptophan is absorbed in the body from the intestines, and then it is reabsorbed in the kidneys. Okay, so you have to understand this concept. I have already told this in physiology that when something is absorbed from the stomach, we call it absorption. But if it is absorbed from the kidneys, we call it reabsorption. Why do we call it reabsorption? Because in the kidneys, we know that our nephrons have the glomerulus, and then they have the different tubules, right? And then we have the finally we have the collecting duct. Correct. So what happens is everything, the blood goes into the glomerulus, right? And then the glomerulus will decide whether they want to keep that thing in the body or they want to excrete that thing into the urine. Okay. So if the glomerulus has decided that it wants to excrete the tryptophan, but the tubules are intelligent, these tubules, they are intelligent, they know that we don't want to excrete tryptophan, so they will reabsorb tryptophan into the body. Okay, they will reabsorb. That's why when we talk about kidneys we say reabsorb, but when we talk about the stomach, when we talk about the intestines, we say absorb. ओके, डू यू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट? मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ इतना समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, एक बार मैं हिंदी उर्दू में बता देता हूँ कि जब भी हम किडनी की बात करेंगे, अगर किडनी से कोई चीज़ बॉडी में आ रही है एब्जॉर्ब होके, तो वहाँ पे हम वर्ड यूज़ करते हैं रीएब्जॉर्ब। और जब स्टमक से कोई चीज़, जब इंटेस्टाइन से, स्टमक नहीं, इंटेस्टाइन से जब कोई चीज़ हम एब्जॉर्ब कर रहे हैं, तो उसको बोलते हैं एब्जॉर्प्शन। ओके, सो किडनी में रीएब्जॉर्प्शन और इंटेस्टाइन्स में एब्जॉर्प्शन। तो क्या होता है कि जो ये ट्रिप्टोफैन है, ये एक अमाइनो एसिड है, ठीक है? ये हमारी बॉडी में आया और यूजुअली आपकी और मेरी बॉडी में ये ट्रिप्टोफैन एब्जॉर्ब हो जाता है, ठीक है? ये इंटेस्टाइन्स में एब्जॉर्ब हो जाता है और हमारे ब्लड में आ जाता है। Usually, the tryptophan is absorbed normally from the intestines. It will come into our blood, into our body. But there are certain transporters which are responsible for this absorption. Okay. So, if those transporters, let me just show you here, if those transporters stop working, then the tryptophan will not be absorbed. Okay. Same thing will happen in the kidney. So when tryptophan will reach the kidney will throw it out into the urine. Actually, what it should do in a normal person like you and me, it should reabsorb tryptophan. But because the transporter is not working here also, here is your transporter. If it is not working, then what will happen? The kidney will excrete the tryptophan. The body will lose the tryptophan in urine. So, because of these two reasons, the intestines and the kidneys, this disease will be caused. And what will happen if this disease is caused? What were the products of tryptophan? If anybody remembers, what were the products? There were many different products, but two of the important products are niacin. You're not able to see this. two important products are niacin and serotonin. Okay. So because of these two products, the all the main problems will be caused in this disease. So I still haven't told you the name of the disease. Some students have already mentioned in the chat. Very good. So like I told you, impaired neutral amino acid transporters. Impaired neutral amino acid transporters. This is the name of the transporters. You should know this name in the intestines and the kidneys leads to decreased renal and intestinal absorption of tryptophan. This is just the text of what I explained verbally. So because tryptophan is less, tryptophan is reduced, so vitamin B3, which is actually niacin, and serotonin, they will also be reduced. And because of this, we will be seeing all those symptoms. Now remember, I just added the slide here. Remember, niacin is a product of kynurenine pathway and serotonin is a product of 5-HT pathway. Remember this. Okay. So, tryptophan deficiency will cause what? Niacin deficiency and serotonin deficiency. Because of serotonin deficiency, there will be neurological problems. Why? Because I just showed you in that slide that in the pre-synapse, which was the neurotransmitter? It was serotonin, if you remember. Okay. So neurological problems will be caused because of lack of serotonin, and due to lack of niacin, there is 3D symptoms. We call it 3D symptoms: dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia. Okay. So these 3D symptoms, they occur in one more disease which is called pellagra. So pellagra is a different disease, and this Hartnupp's disease is a different disease. So don't get confused. That's why we are saying pellagra like symptoms. Okay, so the symptoms in this disease are pellagra like symptoms, in which we see 3D: dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia. So because of niacin, we see 3D, and because of serotonin, we see ataxia. Now, quickly tell me, what is the meaning of ataxia? What is the meaning of dermatitis, and what is the meaning of dementia? The meaning of diarrhea, I hope you already know, so I'm not going to discuss that. Just tell me the meaning of dermatitis, dementia, and ataxia in the comments quickly. After that, I'm going to take your attendance. Okay, many students have started answering already. Skin problem is dermatitis. Dermatitis means inflammation of skin. Yes. And what about the other two things which I asked? Poor muscle control. Yes, someone has answered about ataxia also. Poor muscle control. And what about dementia? What is dementia? Yes, somebody has answered. Impaired ability to remember, and similar to Alzheimer's. Yes, very good. No, dermatitis and melanin are not related. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Okay, so let me tell you the meaning of all these. So, like they said, ataxia means, let's just say, inability to walk. Okay, so the person will not be able to walk properly because the neurotransmitters are, especially serotonin, I mean, only serotonin actually, is not sufficient. Okay, so ataxia. Dermatitis, it's correct, it is inflammation of the skin. So you see in this picture, This is dermatitis. So if I show you this picture and I ask you what symptom is this, you should be able to tell that this is dermatitis. Okay. And what is the last thing? Dementia. So that is correct. Dementia means loss of memory. Loss of memory is dementia. Diarrhea, I don't think I need to ask you all, right? Okay, and finally, the name of the disease. So, the name of this disease, my dear students, is Hartnupp's disease. Okay, so the disease related to tryptophan metabolism is Hartnupp's disease. Okay, how do we diagnose this? So, like I told you, what the kidney is doing, the kidney is removing a lot of tryptophan into the urine, right? So this is the glomerulus, right? When tryptophan is coming, it is removing the tryptophan into the urine. So if you check the urine, you're going to see increased level of amino acid. Okay. So this is one way of diagnosis. Second way of diagnosis is there will be decreased HIAA, hydroxyindole acetic acid. So this will be decreased. Why? Because if tryptophan was present in normal quantity, then HIAA in the urine is present in normal quantity. But if tryptophan is reduced, then HIAA will also be reduced in the urine. In the urine. Okay. In the urine, HIAA will be reduced if tryptophan is reduced in the body. Okay. What is the logic? Let me explain. HIAA is a product of tryptophan, right? We have already said that this is tryptophan, and one of the products is HIAA. So HIAA is being produced in all of our bodies, in your body, in my body. What happens to this HIAA? It goes out in the urine. Okay. So this is your normal cycle. But what happens when when in Hartnupp's disease, tryptophan is going in the urine, tryptophan is being excreted in the urine, right? So HIAA is not being formed. Okay. And that's why HIAA will be less in the urine and tryptophan will be more in the urine. Okay. I hope you understood. And what is the easy way to treat this? One of the things that we can do is we can give a protein diet, a high protein diet. Why? Because we know that after eating proteins, the proteins will be broken down into amino acids. So the protein will break down into amino acids, and tryptophan is nothing but an amino acid, right? So we can get more tryptophan in our diet by eating more protein. And the patient can also be given niacin supplements. Why niacin supplements? Because we want to relieve the 3D symptoms. Okay. We want to relieve the dementia, dermatitis, and diarrhea. So if you give the patient niacin, they will immediately start to feel better. Okay. Now, uh, give me a moment. I will change the slide. We are going to study a little bit more from the next lecture. So I have to change the slides. Now, those who have not sent their attendance, everybody, please write your name, group number, and semester number and send it to me within 2 minutes. Okay, so now we are going to continue our topic of amino acids. Let me just share the screen. Okay, so we are continuing the metabolism of aromatic amino acids. Actually, aromatic amino acids is over. Now we are going to focus on aliphatic amino acids. Okay, so if you remember, these are the aliphatic amino acids: glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, and isoleucine. These are the aliphatic amino acids. So they have a chained structure. You can see chained structure in all of them, right? But there is something special about valine, leucine, and isoleucine. What is special about their structure? If you focus on the side chains, these side chains have branches in them. Yes? So there are branches in these side chains of valine, leucine, and isoleucine. This is actually leucine. So that's why these three are called branched chain amino acids. Okay? What are they called? Branched chain amino acids. So, why am I telling you that these three are called branched chain amino acids? Because these three have the same reaction. Okay, they are metabolized in the same reaction. That's why we study it together so that our job becomes easier. Okay, all right. Now, before we go to valine, leucine, and isoleucine. First of all, let's start with glycine. Glycine. So, as you can notice, in the side chain of glycine, there is only one single atom, which is hydrogen, right? There is only one atom. So, it is the smallest amino acid. Glycine is the smallest and simplest amino acid, and it is responsible for the flexibility of proteins. What does it mean, flexibility of proteins? So, I've already told you many amino acids are attached together to form a protein, right? Now, if I want to twist this protein, if I want to turn it, I want to turn it many times, I want to turn it many, many times. Okay. So, what do you think? If I put a big amino acid over here on the corner, a large amino acid over here, will I be able to turn it? No, I will not be able to turn it. So I need glycine on these corners, right? Because it is very small. So if there is something small, we can twist it, right? So if we have glycine, the protein, we can easily rotate it, we can turn it. So that's why it is responsible for the flexibility of proteins. Okay. And what are the uses of glycine? It is used in heme synthesis. What is heme? It is one part of hemoglobin, right? So heme plus globin. It also synthesizes glutathione, and it synthesizes creatine, and it synthesizes serine, and serine is also an amino acid. So just you have to memorize these things. If I ask you which substances are synthesized by glycine, you just have to answer heme, glutathione, creatine, and serine. These are the four things which are synthesized by glycine. Now let's see quickly what is the reaction of glycine. First of all, how do we get glycine? How is glycine formed? So glycine is formed when carbon dioxide and ammonia, they react in the presence of glycine synthase. Okay? So this enzyme will cause the synthesis of glycine, and then glycine can convert to serine. See, we told you just in the previous slide, glycine forms serine, correct? So, which enzyme is required for this? Serine hydroxy methyl transferase. Serine hydroxy methyl transferase is required for this reaction, and we will get the amino acid serine. Finally, serine will convert to pyruvate. This also you have to remember. Okay. And now, this part is important for you as doctors. Okay. Because from this bottom part, I am going to tell you one disease. Okay. So, let's see what are the reactions. See, there is one arrow which is coming down and one arrow which is going up, which means glycine can form glyoxylate with the help of glycine oxidase. But glyoxylate can also form glycine. Okay. Glyoxylate can convert back, reverse into glycine with the help of transaminase. So there's a downside reaction and this upward reaction. They both are occurring in our body. Okay. And what happens from glyoxylate? From glyoxylate, we can get formate and we can also get oxalate. Okay. Now, this is the important part. You have to remember formate and oxalate. What happens to oxalate? Oxalate is excreted in the body. Now, oxalate is okay. Can you all hear me now? Is it working? Okay. All right. So I was explaining that glyoxylate can convert to oxalate and formate. Now the problem occurs. The problem occurs when, let me clear this. Yes. When this transaminase stops working. Okay. So if the transaminase stops working, let me just show you. What do you think will happen? Just try to think what is going to happen if transaminase stops working. So this reaction is okay, but this reaction has stopped. What will happen? What will happen to glyoxylate? What will happen to glyoxylate? It will increase. Glyoxylate will increase. And because of glyoxylate, oxalate will also increase. So both glyoxylate and oxalate will increase. And what does the body do? The body tries to remove oxalate from the body, right? The body wants to remove oxalate. But if there is too much oxalate, the kidneys will not be able to remove it, and the oxalate will become accumulated in the kidneys, and there will be kidney stones. Okay, kidney stones will be caused, and those stones will be made of oxalate. And because of that, the patient will come to you saying, doctor, I have very severe back pain. I cannot sit, I cannot stand. It is very painful. And when you check that person, you will find that the amount of oxalate in their body will be high. Okay, so now please look at this question, read the question, and try to answer correctly. So this is a case. Think of yourself like a doctor. You see this doctor over here. So think of yourself like this doctor. Read this case and try to answer the question. Let's see who will answer first. Okay, so one, I can't see your name. I don't know your name, but I have got the correct answer already. It is glycine. Glycine is the correct answer. So, what is the case? 45-year-old man developed severe pain in his back. And the question is itself is saying that it was due to kidney stones. And also, the question is saying that the analysis of the stone indicated oxalic and glyoxylic acid. So, everything is mentioned in the question. Only what they're asking is problem with which of the following amino acid metabolism can cause these stones. So we know, because we studied biochemistry, we know that glycine is the amino acid which is responsible for these stones. Okay, now, and what would we call this disease? We can call it primary and secondary hyperoxaluria. So there are two types of hyperoxaluria. I will not go into the details because this is just biochemistry, but you should know there is primary hyperoxaluria and there is secondary hyperoxaluria. What does it mean? When oxalate is high in the urine, we call it hyperoxaluria. Okay, all right, now we will talk about the metabolism of alanine. So, as you can see, don't get scared. It is very easy. See, you have to start over here. You have to see that we have the muscle, and on the other side, we have the liver. So, first, you have to see that the muscle and the liver are involved. Okay, some 20 or 25 students have disappeared from the stream. So, please quickly send me your attendance once again. I want to see which are the students who have gone. Now, as you're sending the attendance, let me explain this. See, glycogen, first of all, it will convert to glucose. Now, these reactions are happening where? In the muscle. Okay. So, glycogen will convert to glucose, glucose will convert to pyruvate, and pyruvate will combine with ammonia to give glutamate. Okay. And this glutamate will convert to alanine. Alanine. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about metabolism of alanine. That is the topic right now. Now, this alanine, it will leave the muscle. It through the blood, it will go to the liver, and in the liver, this alanine, it will again convert to glutamate. So, just see, glutamate is present here also. Yes, and glutamate is present over here also. So, here glutamate was converting to alanine, but over here the opposite reaction is happening. Okay, so let me remove the markings once again. You can see just the opposite reactions of muscle are going to happen in the liver. Opposite reactions. So in the liver, glutamate converted to alanine. Here alanine will convert to glutamate. Next, what was the reaction here? Glutamate came from where? From pyruvate. So glutamate will give pyruvate, and it will also give ammonia. Now this pyruvate, it will convert to glucose. Okay. So just the opposite reaction of the muscle will happen in the liver. and then this glucose, it can go from the blood, it can go back to the muscle. So this whole cycle is known as glucose alanine cycle. So this is basically the metabolism of alanine. This is how body uses alanine. Now why do we need liver for this cycle? Why do we need liver for completing this cycle? Why we can't do this cycle inside the muscle? Why we have to send it to the liver and then come back from the liver? Why so much travel? The reason is that for breaking down alanine into glutamate, we need an enzyme, and that enzyme is only present in the liver. What is the name of the enzyme? In short form, we call it ALT. Okay, but the full form is alanine transferase, alanine amino transferase. Okay, so when you make notes, you have to google and you have to write the full form of ALT. It is alanine amino transferase. So if I ask you the question, why do we need liver for completing glucose alanine cycle? The answer will be because only liver contains alanine amino transferase. Okay, and this cycle is also known as Cahill cycle. So it is known as glucose alanine cycle, and it is also known as Cahill cycle. Okay, so now we are done with the metabolism of glucose and alanine. Now I want to quickly tell you, this will only take 5 minutes. So don't worry, we are going to see the metabolism of the branched chain amino acids. Which are the branched chain amino acids? There are three: valine, leucine, and isoleucine. Okay, so this is very simple because all three amino acids use the same reaction. Okay, so branched chain amino acids, they convert to alpha keto acids. How do they do that? They do it with the help of branched chain amino acid aminotransferase. Okay, so this first part is easy to remember, branched chain amino acid, because these are branched chain amino acids. तो ये पार्ट याद रखने में तो कोई दिक्कत है नहीं, क्योंकि ब्रांच्ड चेन अमीनो एसिड की तो बात ही हो रही है ना. सिर्फ अमीनो ट्रांसफरेज याद करना है. यू ओनली हैव टू रिमेंबर अमीनो ट्रांसफरेज. So this enzyme will convert them into alpha keto acids. Then alpha keto acids, after many reactions, they will convert to acetyl coenzyme A, acetoacetate, propionyl coenzyme A, and carbon dioxide. These four products. Okay, you have to remember these four products. And which was the enzyme for that? The enzyme for that is branched chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase. Okay, so first it was branched chain amino acid, because we are converting branched chain amino acid. Then we are converting alpha keto acid, so the name will change accordingly. Branched chain alpha keto acid. Okay, so branched chain alpha keto acid will be converted to acetyl coenzyme A. Now the important part: what happens if there is a problem with branched chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase? What will happen if this enzyme is not working properly? Come on, guys, don't be sleepy. Just 5 more minutes. After 5 minutes, I will repeat the attendance and then goodbye. You can take rest. You can enjoy the weekend. What will happen if there is a problem with the branched chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase enzyme? What will happen? Nobody's answering. Okay, two students have said urine disease. Urine disease. Yes, I got the correct answer. Alpha keto acids will increase, right? Alpha keto acids will increase, and the disease will be called maple syrup urine disease. Now, before I tell you about maple syrup urine disease, first you should know what is maple syrup. So, here in this picture, you can see a bottle of maple syrup. So, this kind of syrup is used a lot in countries like the US and Canada. So, what they do, they use this syrup as a sweetener, okay? In place of honey, you can say they use this maple syrup. So, why are we calling it maple syrup urine disease? Why are they mixing this syrup with urine? So, what happens in this disease? Usually, this disease is detected in babies. Okay, somebody is saying that urine will taste like the maple syrup. So, I want to ask you, my dear, who found out that the urine is tasting like the syrup? Who was that person who first found out the taste? It's not the taste, it's actually the smell. Okay, so the urine will start to smell like maple syrup. It will start to smell sweet. Why it will smell sweet? Because the body is having high amount of alpha keto acids, and these are sweet smelling substances. So that's why the urine will also start smelling sweet. And like I told you, this is usually detected in newborns, in babies. So if the baby is having a sweet smelling urine, then if you are the doctor, you have to think about maple syrup urine disease. Okay, so this is some information about maple syrup urine disease. When I send you the slide, you can read about these symptoms, but this is not biochemistry. This I have just added for some extra information. You can read this, and one interesting thing is that for this test, like in some countries, within 24 hours after birth, blood is collected from the baby, and they check the blood for high level of the branched chain amino acids, and specifically they check for leucine. Now, why they check for leucine, I don't know. Maybe it's easier to analyze for leucine, but this is what they do. If they take the blood and the leucine level is high, it means that the baby might be having maple syrup urine disease. Okay, so that is something interesting, and you can read all of these things. Okay, I will ask you questions from this. Now, this is some extra work that you have to do. Okay, so how what are the symptoms of maple syrup urine disease, how to diagnose it, and how it is treated, what is the treatment. Okay, now we will move on to the next topic, which is proteins. And this we will do in the next lecture. So don't worry. Thank you for joining, and goodbye, everybody.